Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Amar Elm, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we are absolutely thrilled to be joined by Lindsay Stevens, founder and executive consultant of Motus Clinic, a San Francisco-based wellness and fitness center combining chiropractic, physical therapy, strength training, and rehabilitative principles to help clients reclaim their physical and mental resilience. Lindsay, welcome to Founders Future.
Yeah, thank you so much. Excited to be here.
I'm excited to dive in. I always like to start from the beginning. So take me back to before you started Motus Clinic. What were you doing before? And then what was really the motivation behind starting the company?
I think I have to go back, like way back, because I arrived doing chiropractic work because of how I grew up. So both sides of my family, very unhealthy for different reasons. And my dad was like a really big proponent of like physical activity, stuff like that. So when I was a kid, I was super, super active all the time. And so as I got older, trying to pick a career, I wanted something that was around movement, something that I could keep active with. And when I was in college, I was studying like kinesiology. When I was in college, my mom had a really bad accident and we stumbled upon chiropractic. I didn't really know anything about it. And so it felt like a perfect moment. I arrived at something that the philosophy made sense. It allowed me to move around. I was like helping
Mhm.
people move through life naturally without a lot of external stuff, something that someone had control over. I moved towards chiropractic in terms of like grad school. And then when I started working, I actually worked out of a hospital in DC. I did an internship there for about a year. And most of the people we were seeing were coming from Iraq and Afghanistan, which was really interesting population. And typically, we were basically getting all the people no one knew what to do with.
Fair.
And I had this one Marine, and this was like the significant pivotal moment for me. He came in, no one knew what to do with him. He had back pain, like 8 out of 10. He was sleeping 2 hours a night. Like he had gotten a divorce. He wasn't able to hold on a job. Like he just was really struggling.
Yeah.
And in the process of a couple of sessions, I had a conversation with realizing that part of the issue was not that he had something crazy going on, is that nobody was listening to him. And I sat down and realized that he was in a support group that hadn't seen any combat. And I was like, let's get you in a new one where you feel like people share the experience you had, because he had lost a lot of friends. And he was
Wow.
really afraid to do that because every time he had asked for help previously, they gave him drugs or they like pushed him off. And so for me, that moment, advocating for him and realizing that a lot of times it's not that we don't know how to help people, it's that we don't have a system that allows us to help people, right? Because they're just trying to push people out the door. That was something that really stuck with me. So when I started working, I was working, taking insurance and stuff like that. But it was pretty soon after that, having that kind of experience, that I was like, there is no way for me to actually help people if I take insurance. And so
Yeah.
when the opportunity arose, someone presented the opportunity for me to open my practice. I said, okay, I'm ready to do it. But if I do it, I'm not going to take insurance. And that was like the foundation, because I was like, I know that there's not a way for me to be able to do it
Yeah.
and help people. So
Yeah.
I can't do it. So that it was a combination of things, but I feel like each one kind of had an important piece to set me on my path.
100%. Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for breaking down that story because it just shows the power of, okay, you see a problem, you see somebody struggling with something, and the solutions, like you're trying to find a solution. So, okay, let me make sure that other people experiencing this
Yeah.
have something accessible to them. I love that. Let's dive into the clinic today and what it looks like to give the listeners more context.
Mm.
Say, and this might be a difficult question, but who would you say is your ideal client? Who do you love to work with at Motus Clinic?
I think there's two buckets. We split, like we're being in the Bay Area, a lot of people are pretty active, because I was just complaining about the weather earlier, but really our weather is pretty great year round. Like you can be outside. So a lot of people are runners, bikers, triathletes, those kinds of things. And so those people are really fun to work with because they have goals. So they're really motivated. And I guess maybe I can back up and say our structure right now is direct pay or direct care. So you don't use insurance, you come in and you pay us directly for the services, which
Yeah.
again allows us to be very focused on like the patient's goals as opposed to a third party that says that's not relevant.
Yeah.
And so those people again are fun because they are motivated. They want to perform or they have some kind of limitation. So they're great. But there's also a group of people because again, we're in the Bay Area. So there are people that spend a lot of time behind computers and coding and stuff like that.
Mm,
Founders, things like that, that are working really hard, high stress. And those people are also really great to work with because they are really interested in learning how they can better themselves
yeah.
not in the same way from a performance standpoint, but they're very much curious. And so those I think for the same reason, but slightly different, they're both very interested in learning about
Yeah.
themselves, whether it's a performance, I want to run faster or improve my time, or I want to have better strategies, or I want to make better decisions about like when this happens, what can I do here? So those populations of people are really great to work with the model that we have.
Yeah, I like that. So it sounds like one side of it is I want to optimize and really operate at my peak efficiency that I can, like physically and mentally. Then the other side is maybe my work is getting in the way and my health is deteriorating. So how can I mitigate that and how can I reverse that in a sense? Wa-
Yeah. I
Walk
think
me.
there's an important piece of they have to they like giving someone control back. Like they have the control to make different decisions and like giving them that almost like autonomy, which I think is something that not a lot of people do because like most people's model is I want you to keep coming back.
Yeah.
Not really how we operate.
Yeah, no, that's great. So equip them with the tools so that they don't necessarily need you in the future because they've made the necessary lifestyle changes.
Yeah.
Walk me through your current model. How do you actually generate revenue? What is the different offers and services? Walk me through that.
Yeah. So we have chiropractic, physical rehab, and then we have like the performance style care, and then we also have massage or body work. So most of it is service, right? You come in and you have a session, and then we have package options. So most of the time someone comes in, they have X going on, we do the evaluation and we say, okay, we expect it'll take us about this long to get through this. These are your goals. And so people will purchase a package at a discounted rate so they make that commitment up front. And that's bulk of what we do. We are starting to do a little bit more with companies, right? Direct
Oh,
care model where they can say, okay, we'll pay X per employee per year for them to have access to you
oh,
guys. And then that employee has the flexibility to apply that money however they want. So I think you're going to ask this question later, but about scaling and stuff like that. But that the direct care through companies is the scale because with individuals, it's a lot of work for us to pull people in, right? Because
for sure.
we have a high barrier of entry from the cost standpoint. So it's a lot to convince people to step outside of the insurance model and be willing to pay that money up front. So getting someone else to commit for a larger group of people is something that's going to
Yeah,
make that a little bit easier for us. Yeah.
100%. What are the price points? Is that something you're comfortable getting into?
Yeah, yeah, 295 for our initial session, 185 for follow-ups, and then the packages are discounted off of that. So it's an hour and 40 minutes, an hour for the initial and 40 for the follow-up. And then it varies massage for like length of time, but the hour is the same as my follow-up, which that's what
Yeah.
allows us to do the packages that are flexible. So someone can choose like what kind of session they want to use the appointments for. Yeah.
Awesome. I'd love to get into kind of the client acquisition piece. So we
Mm,
can break it up into two with the individuals and then with the companies. What are you currently doing from a lead generation and marketing front to bring on more customers, more clients?
yeah. Most of what we do is in-person events. I think,
Ooh, interesting.
well, yeah, so we do a lot of like pop-ups. We partner with CrossFit gyms and things like that. So that's pretty successful for us, especially because we've built a relationship. So it's not the first time being there. So a lot of times we go and we've seen a bunch of other people that already are a part of that clinic or gym or whatever that we're popping up at. So it's just an opportunity for them to meet us and say, okay, I've already heard about you guys. I've met you. You can see that we are know what we're doing. And then usually we can convert them on the spot for them to set up a first session. So that's the main way we do it. Something that we've talked about is like, how do we do a better job of the more light touch funnel? We've not really ever developed that because we always felt like we weren't sure the right model to do that because we're such high barrier of entry and there's a lot of money exchange that it seemed that a lot of money would have to be put into creating that funnel. And so it just always kept me from doing it. It's
What
a
do you
little
mean? What kind of funnel are you thinking? What do you mean when you say light touch?
I just mean like social media or something like that. The amount of time and I mean, maybe it's not money is maybe not the right thing, but the amount of time in order to cultivate those people to get them to convert to either have a 20-minute phone consult. Because the conversion rate once someone's in the office is like 80-90%. Like almost everybody, by the time they come in the door, they've already decided that, okay, I'm ready because I'm tired. No one's been able to help me. I don't know where else to go. I've wasted time doing all these other things. And now I actually really want to make a change. So that's not the hard part. It's the getting them to that point. So there's like that education piece. And so we spent some time developing a little bit our social media. And then it was just like so much time. And then we got busier with other things and we've just dropped it. But I do think there is some value there, but it just is, we've just never figured out the formula of like how we actually would navigate that.
Yeah, I'd love to share some perspective because I've seen so many, like literally hundreds of health coaches and health consultants. They don't necessarily have a clinic, it's more like online coaching. And
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen them before. And they're charging $3,000 to $7,000 for
Yeah.
one-on-one coaching over a 3 to 6 month period.
Yeah.
And there's different things that are obviously included as a part of that. But the funnel that we found to work best with that is a 60 to 90-second ad that has a clear per specific person solving a specific problem in a specific way.
Mm.
If you're suffering from this, or if you're experiencing this, or if you want to get to XYZ,
Yeah. Yeah.
fill out this application and then book a call with one of our team, and they'll walk you through what your situation would look like. So the
Mm.
purpose of that is to get them, so the ad takes them to a landing page. There's a short video on that landing page. There's an application underneath that video. And then that application is set up in a way where it's qualifies them a little bit more, both financially, but also desire as well. And,
Yeah.
and then from there, it's a booking page. And before anybody has, if let's say somebody fills out the form but they don't book, you would have already gotten their phone number early on. So that's
Yeah.
where an appointment center can come in. I don't know if you've thought about that, but I've seen people like charge very high ticket and
Yeah.
do very well with that kind of funnel.
Yeah. No, we haven't thought to be honest, I feel like we've just stuck with the in-person stuff and we haven't. But this is actually, it's funny we're having this conversation because I was literally having it yesterday with the team of we need to do a better job of this because it takes so much time. And it was working, but it does take a lot of time for us to operate in the way that we are now in terms of scaling, all that. So in terms of what we want to do or what we're interested in, like the doors open of like how would we navigate because we have that high barrier of entry and it has to have high commitment in order for people to get something out of it because that's like a key part of the model why it works is people are super
Yeah.
committed.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we also have a lot of emails that we get from events and we don't cultivate those leads. So they're
Mhm.
aware of us, maybe interested, but not ready to make the leap because whatever's going on is maybe not severe enough or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think there's a couple of avenues that we are leaving untouched.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think the ads would do very well. And I also think re reactivating, that's the word that I'm looking for. Reactivating the email list is
Yeah.
huge, is very important.
Yeah.
And I understand as a founder, there's, oh my God, there's so many things that you
Yeah.
got to do. So it's,
Yeah.
oh my God, I get it.
Yeah.
Walk me through the vision and really where you want to take the company in terms of milestones, targets, if there's
Mm.
any, or maybe just goals in general. Like,
Yeah, it's been an interesting few years, right? Because when we originally started, our main goal was actually the reason the business started in terms of opportunity was I had a really good relationship with the CEO of the realty company and he offered the space. And so we were cultivating that relationship to maybe expand through them as like a amenity as CAM, like in each of their buildings, they can have this kind of clinic service that people could buy into through the CAM process. So it was a larger project with the pandemic and a couple of other things, that project is no longer viable. And so it's been a couple of years now trying to figure out what we're doing next. And I think this direct care model that I was talking about with companies is probably going to be our main push, our
Yep.
main focus. And so from a what we want to achieve, I don't know if I'm there yet because it's pretty early actually that we're making the shift. We were doing a version of this actually pre-pandemic. Um, but this is a slightly different model because we're doing it more from a healthcare standpoint and less from a wellness standpoint. We were in the wellness zone previously, and now we want to move more kind of healthcare zone in terms of how we approach the company.
I'm sorry to cut you off. How do you differentiate the two, healthcare versus wellness?
Yeah, when you do wellness stuff, you're doing like maybe massage on site, you're doing like classes and kind of education, which I don't think you can still do. But when we go more healthcare, it would keep it more clinical in terms of like people coming to the clinic, people having access, people actually solving problems as opposed to, I just don't want to feel tight in my shoulders while I'm at work,
Yeah.
right? Because I think there's a window with everything that's going on. Insurance continues to get worse. And I've talked to a few CEOs of late that are definitely starting to wonder how much they should continue to invest in these high insurance premiums because
Mm.
people aren't even really utilizing it because they can't. I can't tell you how many times someone comes in and they can't even get imaging like through their insurance, or if they do, it's more expensive.
Because the provider says no?
No, so I'll send someone to get imaging. Say, like someone comes in, I'm like, hey, look, I think we need to do like a lumbar MRI just to rule out a couple of things and assess, blah, blah, blah. So I send it in. The insurance company approves it. Cost is astronomical. So let's say they've got to pay $800 to $1,000 insurance to get the MRI, but the
Yeah,
cash rate's 250.
I see.
So it's becoming more and more these kinds of scenarios more and more frequent
Yeah.
that it doesn't make sense to pay these high premiums
Yeah, what's the
when
point?
I can't even utilize it. It's cheaper for me to pay out of pocket. So I think companies are going, we're spending $1,500 to $2,000 on average per employee per month for a service that they can't use.
Yeah. Month
Uh,
is crazy. Yeah, no, for sure.
yeah. So I think there's an avenue there. We're saying like maybe your better option is to think smaller in terms of like community partnering with clinics and offering access and payment for services that way, because those are the things that people use more, right? In terms of what 80% of the population deals with some kind of musculoskeletal, particularly low back issues. And then that directly correlates to their like work product, right? So if there's a world in where I can say, okay, the thing that people utilize very heavily or need that's going to be the most beneficial on their day-to-day lives, I can give you access to that now. And the spend is direct, and the employee is not going to have to spend as much out of pocket is way better. And so I think companies are it's starting to percolate a little bit of,
Yeah.
does it make sense for us to keep investing every time in these like higher premiums with
Hmm.
less and less coverage? It's not giving us the return.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. And if the employees aren't benefiting, what's the point of us paying this? And it's cool because then you're not asking them to pay more. It's more, okay, take what you're already paying and put it in a way that's more efficient and effective.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
With that being said, what is the best way for people to reach out to you to work with you?
As a patient, they can just go to the website and they can book directly through there. And then if a CEO or a founder is interested in having more of a conversation about how they can do direct clinic care like that, just emailing me at
Okay.
lindsay@motusclinic.com would be the easiest way to start that conversation.
Awesome. Beautiful. Any final words before we wrap up?
No, I think we covered a lot. I think I guess the biggest thing for me is mainly the insurance piece. I feel like that is the thing. If we're talking about just like function of people getting better in their lives, right? Insurance is the biggest thing that kind of holds people back. I think a lot of times the more you stay in that system, the harder it is for you to get the product or get the progression that you're looking for or the change. And it's also a lot of times the things that keeps you unhealthy. So I would encourage maybe just if there are any patients listening that are like, what do I need to do? Stepping outside of the insurance system is going to be the thing that probably gives you the most value almost immediate. So I would, yeah, that would be my last little 2 cents.
Awesome. Lindsay, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Anytime. So that wraps up another inspiring episode of Founders Future. To our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to go to motusclinic.com. That's MOTUS clinic.com. And if you are a CEO and you're interested in what Lindsay's saying right now, email her, lindsay@motusclinic.com. And if you are a business owner, specifically a coach, consultant, or an agency, and you're really looking to scale your business and you want to enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io to hop on a call with our team and discover how we were able to go from zero to $30 million in less than 3 years. Until then, keep on climbing.